So good afternoon. Thank you so much for being a part of our Black and Belonging series. This is part 3, and today we're going to have Cece joining us all the way from Texas. You can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. One, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the platform to share my story. Two, my name is Corinthia E. Croom, endearingly known as CC, and I am the owner of C3 Talk to Me and a partner in ACT Photo Media. Those are media companies in which we help to tell stories, capture images, and help create memories that are long lasting. So I actually got started in media through music. So my first company was Instrumental Praise. That was my quote unquote record label. I managed a few artists up under that. And that up under that umbrella is how I found I actually am pretty good with public relations, PR. So I was good with getting individuals into magazines, onto radio stations, getting them interviews and things like that. And then it also kind of sparked this interest to be like, you know what can I do to help these artists with like their social media or their online presence in general. And I started creating like these EPKs. But from there I would actually find photographers for the photos for these EPKs. And the EPK is an electronic press kit. And so that kind of just is a artist bio with like some of their stats, a photo of them, their actual like some of their singles, where you can find their information. All of that can be included in an EPK. And from there, I started doing a couple more things. Like there was a need for some videos. There was a need for action photos at concerts and things like that. And so I picked up a camera. And then I met my business partner, Alika, who actually taught me what to do with that camera. So the spark for media has been long and probably since childhood. I have a photo book that actually is from elementary, um, and it's come with me all the way to 26. So I've been able to grow in it, not just photography and videography, but also producing podcasts as well. I have clients who have things in Target. I have clients in all across the state. Or all across the United States. And they range in either help needing to tell their stories or just someone helping to come in and actually capture their vision for their story. So,
Thank you for that. As a
absolutely.
Black queer woman in a field where you are viewed as a minority, how do you handle the biases?
Well, one thing that I've noticed, so actually, a part of my journey, I was not out. Actually, at the beginning of 2020, I decided to be outwardly gay to the community. And one thing that I noticed is that I actually lost a couple of contracts. And with that came like this imposter syndrome. So more of the bias was because like individuals may have decided that they don't want to like associate themselves with the LGBTQ TIA plus community. And that's okay, right? What I had to address is that it had nothing to do with my ability. It was just their personal convictions. And so navigating just the bias or the implicit bias of what some people think is like, oh, I'm going to catch the gay. You can't catch the gay. So it's been it's been an emotional one, but I've been able to get through it, right? Like it was jarring to see that the individuals didn't want to work with me because I was new gay, but I had been gay the entire time, right? So there's that, but it's been okay. You know what I mean? Like you still run into it and it's like, what do you want? And it's like, I don't want anything but to work with you. I'm like, I just want to work with you. If that's okay.
You can't catch
And it's
this.
been,
All you can catch is the vibes and my great talent.
you know, I like to think I'm a fun person. That's all. I like to think I'm a fun person. So it's been, I think it's a consistent check within myself to say that I am capable. If the opportunity came, I'm capable. And no matter who decided that they didn't want to work with me before, I deserve this opportunity. And so it's more so of it's a constant self-reminder. It's a constant self-reminder. That's how I'm navigating just biases of individuals that I'm encountering all the time. Just that's okay. I have biases that I have to check myself with all the time. So I can't hold that against someone, but at the same time, I'm not going to allow it to, hinder my self progress. Because like I said, if the opportunity came, then I deserve it.
Well, your work speaks for itself
Thank
and
you.
your talent is just phenomenal. And you know, the vibes, I'll catch the vibes, I'll catch the positivity.
Thank you.
How do you actually handle imposter syndrome?
Whew. It is sometimes it's literally just being able to say, you know what, that was good. I don't care. I know it is hard for me sometimes to say, oh, that was good, but like even looking at something or looking back at a project that I've done before, it's like considering what you knew at the time, that is really good. You did good. And so it's combating imposter syndrome is self-talk. It's mirror talks, it's affirmations, it is being able to say, even if I don't know something right now, I can learn it. And if I didn't know it then, someone else didn't know it at some point too. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can give myself the grace to learn. But even as I'm learning, you're good. You know what I mean? Like, but you're good. So sometimes it's like when I start beating up on myself and saying like, oh, I shouldn't be in this room, or I shouldn't have this opportunity and things like that. It's being able to turn around and say, you know what, I am good, and I'm okay with being good for myself, and I'm okay to get better. Like I deserve to get better. I deserve to sit down and learn. I deserve to try these opportunities. I deserve to fail if necessary. Like I deserve all of that, and it doesn't matter what I was thinking in the moment. If I can get beyond it by with those affirmations and things like that, that's how I'm dealing with imposter syndrome, because I'm doing it every day. Like every day there's like, oh man, I shouldn't have this opportunity. Like right
It's
now.
those Issa talks in the mirror,
Yeah.
like, hey.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So what you gonna do is kill it. Okay.
Yep. How did you grow your media company?
It has actually been word of mouth. So I haven't done a lot of promoting. If you go and look at my social media, sometimes I do a bad job of actually posting my work. But the clients that I have all been per recommendation. Someone recommended me to someone else. Someone knew someone who needed wanted help with a podcast, and they said, "Hey, CC's the one that helps me. Look into C3 Talk to Me." Someone was like, "Hey, I need photos for this." Well, ask CC with ACT Photo Media, or ask Alika if CC can go, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's always been this word of mouth aspect, and that is, I tie that heavily to my desire to build a relationship with individuals. I am genuinely interested in people. And so because people can tell that I am genuinely interested in Vanessa, right? Vanessa then comes and says, hey, I know someone who does photography or videography, or who can produce your podcast, or who can help you develop your idea, because I was genuinely interested in your idea. And so that's been the way that I've been able to build it. But that's also just how I operate in life. I say I'm genuinely interested in people, but like that's the translation for I'm nosy. I'm asking questions.
That's powerful though, and it just is a testament to the power of networking and building those relationships and investing in them. So where did you find community at? As a queer Black woman in media, how do you find your support?
It has been through genuinely asking people about themselves, and then being like, oh, I relate to that. Right? And being able to say, well, who are you first? And then it's like, the more someone tells of their story, it's like, oh, actually, I have something similar to that in my story. Let me tell you a little bit about me. And then now we built this relationship. We're building a relationship. And that helps me build community, because I am also a connector. So if I know that someone, I might know a couple of single mom friends, they are like, hey, I need some mom friends so that my child has someone to play with. And I'm like, I don't have any kids, but y'all should be friends. And I'm friends with you all, so I'm gonna come play with your kids. You know what I mean? Like, I'll come play with your kids. I don't exactly have a child, but you all should be friends too. I think you'll like each other, because I know a little bit about your backstory. And so to me, right, like I'm doing that connecting, because I love that. I love when people find something interesting in someone else. But then I love people, right? I love being able to see people smiling and see people enjoying each other and things like that. So that's how I've built community, is being genuinely interested in individuals, and then being able to say, hey, I know you don't know each other per se, but I think you'll like this person. And we're about to go do dot, dot, dot. So it typically ends up being like 3 or 4 people around me at one time. And that's my max. But that is how I've built community, is being able to say, one, I'm interested in you. And then two, I think you'll like this person.
Networking, man. You are amazing at that. So, just thank you for also teaching me the power of networking. I definitely appreciate that. In what ways do you find identities overlap?
So here are some of the identities I take on. I take on student, Black, queer, um, business owner, Christian. Man, I am a traveler, right? There are so many things that these all each of those things I think can overlap, right? Like I have found, I consider myself a student of life. And so no matter what, no matter where I am, I can learn. If I am on the plane and there's someone who might be reading a book that's interesting, I might just ask them. I mean, COVID, considering COVID, right? But I will still
Okay.
be like, hey, so what is that? Or how is that? Or, you know what I mean? And that also feeds into my love for storytelling and my love for people and my love for it. All helps, right? The more I listen to someone, I might be able to share a little bit about myself and then say, oh, I'm a business owner. This is what I do. My intent is not to network with you or sell you on my product or my service. My intent is to get to know you. But a lot of times, my different identities is what helps me to identify or relate with someone. And those intersectionalities, or just being able to say, I don't have to be a Christian by myself, and I don't have to be queer by itself, and I don't have to be an artist by itself, but I can be a queer Christian artist. And all of those things together will help in whatever, they'll help aid in a story or aid in building a relationship or building another connection or um, creating community. Sometimes you don't walk into a community, you create or you forge community with all of the people that I've like met. So all of that, I think, ties into how like all of me makes up all of me. So intersectionality is a given with anyone, you know what I mean? Like no one shows up to a room just being one thing. And that's great. That's great. Um,
How does this translate into your art?
I think one, the building relationship portion ties into the art because as a artist, I don't take on just one form of art, right? So if I decide to do something canvas on canvas, it often ends up being my creative expression, but then also it sometimes ends up being like something that I've written, and sometimes it's something that I said to someone, right? I have a poem called Sunshine or Sunkissed. And it says, don't call me a ray of sunshine because I am the sun. And that came from a place of, I don't want you trying to limit me because you can't understand me. I don't want you trying to fit me into your worldview because my reality is so much bigger, possibly so much bigger than your worldview. Because I don't just show up to a room as a queer. I don't just show up to the room as Black. I don't just show up to the room as a business owner or as an artist. I show up to the room with all of that. And so don't call me a ray of sunshine because I am the entire sun. But what do you need? Right? So that's how it comes up in life, in business, in my art, in building relationships, right? Some people know me as the brainiac. Like Corinthia has all of these random facts in her head. But some people know me as all I do is play. Because I could show up to the room with you in that way and still be completely and authentically me. So that's how it comes up in my art. You see it in the way that I approach a project. You'll see it in the way that I approach my arts, and you'll see it in the way that I approach building relationships in general. Everything is necessary. All of it is necessary to telling the story, and we have to be willing to listen. And being willing to listen is being able to take in everyone's intersectionalities, being able to take in everyone's story, and say, well, how exactly can I relate to this? How are we going to connect? And then I put that into my art, and I put that into everything else.
Okay. Snap.
I am me, I am me, I am me.
Yes. Okay. All of it. I want all the rays of sunshine, the
Mhm.
whole sun.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
What do you envision the future of Black creators in media being?
So one thing that I say a lot is that I don't want to be in content creation forever. I would like to be in content selection. So that being, we see different networks coming out with these apps. And one thing that I am um, kind of leaning towards myself is being able to say, this is what people want to see. This is what goes very well. And this is what we provide on this platform, right? So eventually C3 Talk to Me would be an app, and that would be the where I would go with that, right? Is being able to say, I have these 4 genres that we can have in rotation, heavily in rotation on this app, and we tell these sort of stories. This is what you're going to see. I think the direction that we're going is more individuals saying, I want to see this sort of art, I want to see this sort of representation, and I will find a way to do it. If that means creating my own app, if that means going out and shooting amateur movies and whatever it may be, I think that's the where we're further leaning towards, because we know that we can't trust mainstream media to do it. So we have to do it ourselves. We have to shape the narrative. We have to tell our own stories and be honest with ourselves and then with each other as well. So I think that's the direction that we're going in. We're starting to, like I said, we're starting to see it now, but I think it's going to do nothing but intensify as we go.
What is one story that you would really like to share if given the opportunity on your platform?
Hmm. The story of how regular struggle is, right? Like it is, we all are. And
Struggle life is
sometimes,
real. Struggle
yeah,
life is real.
it is. And sometimes we don't, sometimes we forget that someone else is struggling too. And that I think is, I would like to just tell the story in such a plain way of how everyone has the sense of some sort of fire going on when we get home,
Mm.
right? Even if it's not actually at home, even if it's with our family or with work or wherever, we all have this desire to vacate, to go on vacations. And when we come back, our reality is whatever that fire is that we left, or whatever that issue is that we are dealing with. And so I think if I could tell that story in a very plain way, it's not dramatic, but it's just regular old everyday, it might help us to give each other more grace. Um, that would be my goal, to help us provide each other with more grace. We all need it because we all struggling with something.
Exactly. Like The Office, but for real life, like struggle life.
Right.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Let
That
me
would
know.
be
I got a lot of struggles I could share.
we all do. I think that's what's crazy. Like we all do. We could all sit down and write a list of what is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the story I would love to tell.
It's amazing. So I have a question now, and
Okay.
our students may be interested in this too. How would I go about becoming an influencer?
Okay. One is consistency. It
Mm,
is genuinely just being consistent, posting all the time, and being able to. No one wants to see something that's fake.
mm,
So we love these funny comedians because that's their personality. When you see them anywhere, they are actually that silly with their friends or whatever, and they just shared a piece of themselves with us. So finding out what your piece of yourself is that you're going to share with us all the time. For Tabitha Brown, it was her journey of veganism. That is the piece no matter what she's sharing, that is the piece that we see all the time. It is her consistent journey. Yes, we see her husband. Yes, we see her daughter. Yes, we see her son. We see her family sometimes, or other extended family members sometimes, but she always tells us the consistent story of her journey in veganism, right? Um, I Am Zoe is one of my favorite comedians. He is always silly. One of his things is being messy, right? Like he has a whole series called Messy Mondays. It is him. That is genuinely him. when you see him record with his friends on their other channels and things like that, that is genuinely him. He is genuinely interested in pop culture. He is genuinely interested in what's going on and sharing his opinion. And because of that, we are genuinely interested in hearing what he has to say. Those being able to share a consistent piece of yourself all the time will help you go viral. And then, like I said, the consistency will definitely help, because if you're posting on a regular basis and then now you have this following and then you have a video that actually ends up being very entertaining and everyone shares it, then now you're doing nothing but growing your following. So yes, we would love for you to go viral, but also once you go viral, what are you going to do with it? Right. So all of these followers and things like that. So once you go viral, or in something in that sense, make sure you have some sort of product or you copyright whatever it is that you did, because if you go viral, you have nothing but views. So make sure that, if that your intent is to go viral, make sure that you have something, or you can respond to whatever that was that went viral very quickly, and make sure that you go into legal mode, copyright that, patent it, trademark it, do whatever you can to make sure that anytime somebody uses that, you get paid. Boom. So yes, go viral, be consistent, share a consistent piece of yourself. But then as you go, or as you're noticing your following, or your viewers are going up and things like that, make sure you have something that is tangible. So then you can profit off of you going viral, because it means nothing if you just got Facebook, a bunch of people to share your stuff. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure I'm cut out for the viral life, but the process, I'm not sure it's for me. I'm not sure it's for me, but I'm sure we have some students here on campus who will definitely be viral. We have a lot of students who are talented here and creative and artistic, some who have YouTube channels, some are musicians. I'm gonna shout out Jason. I see you, Jason. So, I know that this is definitely helpful to hear. Can you show us some of your work?
Absolutely. So I am first going to show you the Instagram, and this is the C3 Talk to Me Instagram. So here you'll see, as I said, I don't do a great job of actually posting 211 posts, and who knows how many actual videos I've done at this point. But here's for a video I did for a personal chef, and she's out of Muskegon, so I had a chance to actually get a chance to attend one of her dinners, shoot some of the food, the individuals, and all of that. And so telling the story of really just kind of like the experience you're going to get with Saber, that she's going to prepare the food right in front of you, that you get to see it. The presentation is great. And honestly, I feel like the images aren't doing the food justice. It was so good. My mouth is watering thinking back to it. It was so good. So this is a part of what I do. It might be a business profile, but then there are examples of this is a salon. So the salon owner is the one who we see. She's the one who's actually providing the services. So that's a little bit there.
With the natural curls, though, I'm loving
Absolutely, the natural look. And then so this was for a series of videos I did for an event that happened at the beginning of 2020, right? So these were the promo videos that went out. So, and then here is the photography, everyone. So, as I mentioned earlier, I am a partner in the ACT Photo Media. And so you will see that is Alika Thresh is the owner, and then she has allowed me to come on and partner with her in coming up with concepts, helping to scout out clients, all of it. She's been a huge part of my development in my creative eye, and so I'm honored to be. This is actually one of my favorite images. Actually, this was one I shot myself. So
very nice.
That's some of my work.
How has MLK's mission and vision influenced your work?
Absolutely. I think in general, because I actually do people, and not just Black people. The goal and the vision for there to be a diverse room, for there to be an inclusive room, for there to be inclusive and diverse representation is naturally something that I'm leaning towards, right? Like I do, of course, as a Black woman, I have an affinity for Black people, but I recognize that not every room I walk into is just going to be Black. Actually, 9 times out of 10, the rooms that I walk into are very, very white. So my goal and vision to help us, one, like I said, give each other grace, to be, to not judge someone by what they look like, but actually their character, and being able to, one, build relationships, be actually genuinely interested in someone. All of those things, I believe, align with King's vision and dream, and then also are just genuinely a part of what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do and how I present myself in the world in general. So that diversity, but then also that inclusiveness, that welcoming to everyone, right? And then also being intentional that these spaces that I get to create or these stories that I get to tell are safe for Black and Brown people first, and then also inclusive to everyone else.
How do you think MLK's mission and vision has influenced media?
We're seeing a lot more diversity nowadays. We're seeing mixed couples on screen. We're seeing gay and lesbian couples. We're seeing shows about the transgender community. We're seeing all types of content come out. So I believe it's leaning further and further towards what King was looking to do in America. But we have so far to go, right? We are still dealing with people's personal opinions being taken for gold almost, and that's not the way that it is. That's not the way that it is. And I guess one thing that should be said is that just because you don't agree with it doesn't make it wrong, and just because you are in favor of it doesn't make it right. But across the board, everyone, no matter what their opinion, should be allowed in the room.
That's wisdom. So, that's wisdom right there.
Allowed in the room and also offered a seat at the table, right? Because I know sometimes there were times where I was allowed in the room, but what I had to say was not welcomed. I wasn't included. The room was diverse, but I was not included in the conversation. And so that's where we are seeing more diversity in general, but we're not seeing that everything is inclusive. Just because you invited me doesn't mean you wanted me there. You know what I mean? So that is something that we have to get better with that. We have to get better with that. Just because I agree doesn't make it right. And just because I think it's wrong doesn't make it wrong. And so, yes, we are seeing a lot of King's influence on media. We're seeing a lot of diversity, but we are not always seeing the inclusion.
That's on period. Okay. So Cece actually has a performance for us that she's going to go ahead and do for us. So thank you so much for agreeing to show us your art and allow us into your space.
Absolutely. So I want to give a little bit of a background on this. This poem is called Yo. And I was in Arizona visiting my girlfriend at the time. And this was right before the elections. A little bit further. So in the summer. So not quite right before the elections. But so I was visiting with her and we went to this park just to sit for a little while. We noticed something was odd. So we didn't get out of the car. And then things got weirder. And so this poem is based off of that encounter. Things got very weird. And I am saying it with a smile on my face because now I'm safe. But at that time, I did not feel safe. And it was a very scary experience. So, yo, without further ado. Yo, I got chased by a racist white guy. I'm sorry. 2, I was doing nothing but being Black at night, minding my own damn business in my own damn car with my own damn girlfriend, and here come this life sucker. Calling me all kinds of last time I was this scared, my mama told me I better not open the door when she's gone again. It was that fear of God I wish all men had. Don't worry about it. I'll be on my way. I'd like to see the light of day. Do you know this pilgrim and his cosigner followed me all around the bend? I mean, at full speed ahead, at least 60 in a 25. Two Harleys, one Hyundai. Baby, please call the police. I'm trying to stay calm for us. I'm trying to be strong for us. But when you get to this house, I scream for the men to come outside. As a strong Black woman, I still depend on men. In this moment, we were being attacked, and the best protection I could provide was being humble enough to ask for help. But help wasn't coming quick enough. So in my true form, I walked up to one. He started backing up. I kept walking forward. Then finally, a tall man with a deep voice appeared. The Harleys went away, and then a cop came near. A few questions, a promise to investigate. The night continues, but it's far from done. Now, if I were white and they were Black, would I have even needed to write this poem? Would I ever have needed to make a statement? Would I even be interested in this event today? I appreciate the conscious, woke, white human, but if you are only woke around Black folks, you are invigorated by our being. You take a hit of us when you're feeling down, and we always provide the high. Listen to me clearly. You are using us as a drug to make yourself feel numb. You are a junkie. You need help. You are drenching yourself in our creativity to make yourself feel clean, and it disgusts me. I hope you are offended by the words coming out of my mouth. Maybe it'll cause you to do something different. Don't you sit under these words and then say nothing when we die. Remember, I was doing nothing but being Black at night, minded my own damn business in my own damn car with my own damn girlfriend. And here come this life sucker, a white brother. Yo. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was, man, I'm right here like just like, whoa, whoo, ah.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us at Albion College today. I'm actually on campus too, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you for coming all the way from Texas to Albion, Michigan. Do you have any words of wisdom that you would like to share with our students before we part?
Absolutely. I'm going to say this. Do not be afraid to show up as your whole self. Someone else needs to see you be as big as you are. You being big doesn't mean you want someone else to shrink. And you shouldn't shrink because someone else is showing up as their complete self. We all need to be our complete selves all the time, right? If you decide to walk into a room and you are queer first, be queer first. If you walk into the room and you're Christian first, be Christian first. If you walk into the room and you are female or whatever your identity that you're holding as first, when you walk in, hold that as first, but do not mute or silence anything else about yourself. Do not mute or silence anything else about yourself because, like I said, don't call me a ray of sunshine because I am the sun.
CC, how can people get a hold of you and contact you?
Absolutely. So I am on all social media under the handles of @LetC and @C3TalkToMe. So that is me personally. For the Let's See Say It, that's where you'll find my poetry, some of my personal photographs, things that I've gone out and explored, and that's LetCSayit. And then for the business and the website, that's C3 and then Talk to Me, C3 Talk to Me. And that is where you'll find the videography, the podcasting. That is the website, c3talktome.com. And that is where you will find us on all digital outlets as well. feel free to follow the photography page where my business partner and I, Alika Charmaine Thrash, and then Corinthia Croom, we are the leads for ACT Photo Media, and that is ACT Photo and then Media on all digital outlets, all social media platforms. So those are the ways that you will be able to get in contact with me and see my work.
Thank you, the Sun CC. Have a great rest of your day.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Vanessa. Bye-bye.